Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for you today, and let's kind of jump straight into it. So, almost a week ago, the developers added a new open world boss into Metal Gotham City, and that is the giant metal man-bat. So, I'm showing you at the beginning here, these are where you pick up the mission locations. There's one at the very start to pick up Chopper Alloy, which is the new weekly mission. It rewards 8 source marks, 8 marks, and the bounty box. And also, where you're actually fighting him in the location, there's also another terminal where you can get the mission and reset it, similar to where Starro was. So there are some new feats there as well, which I'll show you as well as the footage goes on. So the participation, which is 1 kill, the bronze, which is 9 kills, the silver, which is 24 kills, and the gold, which is 49 kills. And then the most important aspect of this fight, well, not this fight, but this bounty in general, sorry, is the new rewards. So defeating him has a chance to drop Battle Lust modular auras. So there's the feet, hands, head, right hand, hands and feet, hands and head, and feet. These drop, have a chance to drop off the boss. I'll let you know right now, I did all 49 of the feats, and I got nothing. I got no drops, no auras, not the sidekick uplink, which I'll get into here. But so, the drop rate seems to be pretty rare on these things, that's for sure. But they're all tradable, so they'll be on the broker as well. The other thing as well is they added new drops to false idols and monsters of metal. There is a forged metal chroma, and then the Drachma modular auras, and then Monsters of Metals has the Forged Metal Chroma 2 and Forged Metal Chroma 3. So it's just that they're adding some new rewards to it, but this is going to focus on the actual bounty here. Now, in terms of the actual bounty, there are some things to pay attention to, because there's a lot of stuff going on in this fight, and lag will certainly play a factor, just like any open world boss. But this open world bounty, more than others, is more of like an FPS killer, that's for sure. Like even in my clips, I'm lagging a bit. Not just because of all the players, but because of the fight itself and the mechanics with it. So we'll kind of jump to the mechanics there. So what you'll see here is throughout the videos, you'll see like, or when you're fighting yourself, you'll see an arrow above your head. I believe now they've changed it just recently to show an actual color, so you know which Spore is following you. But as you can see, as the fight goes on, the beginning you're just killing Man-Bat. Eventually he'll spawn these Spore ads, and then he'll spawn like the normal Man-Bat Commandos ones, which you don't have to worry about. But the Spores are what the issue is. There's a blue Spore, a red Spore, and a green one, and both will have different effects to them. So depending on what color area you have, that means the Spore is following you. So as the Spore gets closer to you, that's when he's going to be debuffing you. So if you have a green Spore or green arrow, that is going to nerf your healing in and your health. And if you have a red Spore, it's going to do damage. If you have a blue Spore, that's going to nerf your power pool and your power regen. So basically, when you have an arrow on you, since it's an AoE effect, you obviously don't want to bring that Spore to another player. That would be really counterproductive. And all of a sudden you just get one shot randomly. The other thing, you just want to kind of stay away from the Spore. So as you can see here, I'm dying, everyone's dying. There's a ton of splash damage in this bounty. It's not something I'd recommend without running a healer, because it's hard to avoid that damage, because the giant metal man-bat will act like in Gotham City Zoo. So he's going to charge around, he's going to fly around, jump around. So to even be in range of him, you're going to have to be within the Spore's distance. And just with all the splash damage from them, because they're overlapping and they're randomly Spores following other players, it's going to be an issue. You're going to have a lot of deaths. So make sure you have a repair bot handy, or have that warp rally back to the start. But yeah, so you don't have to kill the Spores. If it's becoming an issue, you can certainly kill them. I wouldn't worry about killing any of the Man-Bat Commandos, just ignore them. It's because it's more of a single target fight. Obviously, most people in open world aren't focusing on single target armories, so they're splitting massive damage because you've got all the Spores, you got all the Commandos splitting damage. So obviously, once Metal Man-Bat gets to around like 35-40%, the fight slows down a lot, just because that's where the ads will continually respawn. The first part of the fight goes very quickly. But in terms of that, he'll do his wing flap, which will stun you if you're in front of it, like if you're tanking it, which is the same thing as Gotham City Zoo. So he acts the same as what a Man-Bat would do. It's just that now it's in a bounty form. So yeah, watch out for the stun, watch out for his charges, but most importantly, what's going to end up killing you a lot is those Spores. So just be mindful that either you're always moving, just so the Spores aren't reaching you, because if they do, it's just going to be overlapping damage, that's for sure. So, if you're wondering why you're debuffed or what's going on, just look to see if there's a Spore near you. You can kill them if it's an issue, but once again, it's just focusing on single target, that's all it is. focusing on single target, jumping around, avoiding the spores, and then you'll have a chance. So like I said before, you don't have to be reset. As you can see, I think you just saw a red arrow on me. That just means that the red spore will be following me, as I said previously. But you don't have to reset this. Just like the previous bounty, you don't have to reset it to get the feats to drop. Or sorry, not the feats to drop, but the rewards to drop. But that's if you even see rewards. Like I said before, I did 49 of these and didn't get a single reward. So it is quite rare to get the drops. I think right now the sidekick was selling. I think I bought mine for 90 million, just so I could obviously make this video to test you guys. So that's about what they're going for. They've been fluctuating, but it's usually about 90 to 100 million. That's what those man-bats will go to. In regards to the sidekick metal man-bat itself, they just recently today changed it to be gold. I'm not sure what it was before because I didn't buy it the other day, but with this game update that just happened with game update 99, they changed it to be kind of gold metallic. So I'm not sure if it was like silver before. But as you can see, just another cosmetic item. It looks like exactly the same as the Man-Bat Commandos, except that there's 1 instead of 3, and it is a sidekick. In terms of the sidekick features, it does the exact same thing. It's going to shield you. It's going to draw aggro temporarily, and it's going to restore health and power kind of over time. Not over time as like a power over time, healing over time, but it's more of a burst power, burst healing throughout its duration. But obviously it's not meant for damage, as you can see by the parsers. I'll show in a second here the overall comparisons, but it's just another nice kind of cosmetic item just for the game. Okay, to show where the Metal Man-Bat sidekick falls in terms of all the other sidekick trinkets, we have the damage comparison here. I just added it testing at 273 and the 60-second parsers to my previous master sheet of trinkets. As you can see, really on the low end there in terms of sidekick damage. Now, once again, you're not looking for your sidekick to do damage. It's more about the look, more and more helpful, because they do the same thing. They're still going to give you power, still going to give you a shield, a little bit of health return a few times. They're going to aggro enemies for you. So it's not meant to do damage. You're not using a sidekick for damage. You're just using it for survivability, so it doesn't really matter at that point. But in terms of it, it is on the low end scale there. It has the least amount of attack hit counts as opposed to anything else. Damage is just slightly above dual pistols. So compared to it, really quite low. But once again, you're not looking for a sidekick for damage. It looks cool because it's gold and reflective, and you want a man-bat one. Going to overall, same thing. The Brainiac backup and the sidekick dual pistols are the only trinkets that are lower than that in terms of average damage. And then these are all the other trinkets too. I can link this video here if you want to see in terms of what that testing is, and link the forum discussion where I do that. This just goes over, breaks down every single trinket in the entire game that does damage, except for the Flying Jester trinket, because I don't have that one for leveled up properly to be 273 CR, because I do all my testing, even though obviously we're at 284 CR in terms of CR. I do all the testing where I can have them at the same level, so to give a direct comparison. But that's where the Man-Bat falls. It's a nice little cosmetic reward, basically, if you want to use that as a sidekick, but in terms of damage, you know what you're expecting from that. Take care, guys. As always, thanks for watching.